Podcasts, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the podcast.
There are 4 lights!
Its 5-year mission to explore strange, familiar worlds, to seek out new listeners and new civilizations, to boldly go where most nerds have gone before. Join Matt and Shirley on their 5-year mission with a different guest each week as they talk about an episode of Star Trek, from the original series through Enterprise. They'll cover every episode, eventually.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to There Are 4 Lights! I'm Matt, and I'm here with Shirley.
Hello.
And this week we're joined by Jestin Kimmet.
Howdy.
Of the other podcast that he's on. Jesse, tell us about the podcast that you're on.
Nobody's ever heard of him. I'm a part of the Criterion Collection.
No, Jesse, that's not even a podcast. That's one of the episode types.
Is it? It's not a podcast?
What podcast is it on?
Nerds Domain?
Yes, the Nerds Domain podcast.
So that's like the parent company of all the things, right?
No, that's our flagship.
And then we have little shuttlecrafts. What? I'm sure you explain it.
It is keeping with the theme.
You said
what other podcast are you on, Jesse?
Masks of Nyarlathotep.
All right. How's that going for you?
I'm still alive. I'm back in it.
You're not the bad guy this time.
No. I've never been the bad guy.
Botticello started off as a bad guy.
But he was way overshadowed quickly.
This is true. This is very, very true. All right, so this week we're going to be talking about the original series episode, The Return of the Archons.
What episode does Netflix say that this is?
It says that, I don't know because I didn't have Trello open.
Netflix says it's 22. Wikipedia says it's 21 because I had a hard time finding it.
And my TOS book says it's episode 22.
Wow, we all actually matched up somewhere correctly, not really correctly.
Right?
Okay, so this is a great story. So why don't you go ahead and get us started on that, Shirley?
So, Kirk's search for survivors of the long missing starship, the Archon, leads to the
Wait, hold on, back up, because I am honestly confused already, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. There was a ship called the Archon that was missing, and that's why they were there, because it didn't seem like that was ever explained in the episode.
I thought that's what they said at the very beginning.
Jesse,
they were looking for the ship that had been lost in this area, and it was called the Archon.
Did you pick up all that?
Because the ship was lost almost like 100 years earlier or something.
Right.
Why would they be looking for it now? I mean, I'll admit the Federation's slow.
Yeah, no, Wikipedia says it too. On Stardate 3156.2, the Federation starship USS Enterprise, under the command of Captain James T. Kirk, played by William Shatner, arrives at planet Beta 3 in the C111 system, where the USS Archon was reported lost nearly 100 years ago. But I don't remember that being mentioned at the beginning of the episode.
It doesn't say that's why they were there. It just happens to be what happened there. I don't know. I tend to sleep through the introductions on these.
No, what they said is that they are there looking for the ship.
Okay, anyway, go.
Anyway,
I apologize. Okay. That immediately caught me off guard. I'm sorry.
So, now that we got that explained. Okay, Kirk's search for the survivors, and it says survivors, so like 100 years ago, how's
There's
it going
no
to be
survivors. There's none. Go ahead.
Survivors of a long missing starship leads the captain to a society where visitors are treated like infection, which must be absorbed or destroyed. The mysterious leader of Beta 3 is Landru. He is both revered and feared by his subjects, a society which offers a curious paradox of its own. The zombie-like people are orderly by day, but become hedonistic and violent during an annual nighttime event called Festival. And now some of Kirk's crew have crossed over, turning on their captain and becoming one with the body. Ooh. The theme deals with Gene Roddenberry's belief that all men are driven by their egos and or fears, and no man possesses the wisdom, be it in nature, the name of religion, or government, to rightly control the will of others. Spock says to Kirk, "This is a society organized on the physiological concept, one body maintained and controlled by ones known as lawgivers, directed by one brain." Gene Roddenberry taking it one step further, this episode attempts to demonstrate what can go wrong when a society submits to the unconditional rule of something less than a human. Dun dun dun!
Jesse.
Yep.
Joy to you, friend.
Joy to you, friend.
Joy to you, friend.
This is a very interesting story. I liked it. It's very... I'm not sure if it's very tropey or if this is the beginning of the tropes. But we've seen this several times over. I enjoyed it, though, because it felt sincere in what it was doing. But essentially, there's a lot of zombieism and mind control suggested or just overtly there in this. And there's a lot of the fear that goes along with that.
I have never seen the movie The Purge, but I feel as if I have now.
Yeah, that I was thinking about during the festival explodes, and I was like, oh, this is The Purge. What if somebody was like watching this was like, what if that was something they did every year, and like that's what went through their, like, I can kind of get behind that and understand it. Like, that's a very interesting idea.
When it first started up, I thought, okay, this happens at 6 o'clock every day for an hour. How do they make glass and clean it up?
No, it was
the 12 hours.
Yeah.
It was 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
But apparently it doesn't happen every...
No, it just said it did.
Did it? Because that's not the impression I got, again, from the episode. I feel that their summary here is a little suspect.
Like, the zombie-like people are orderly by day, but become hedonistic and violent during an annual nighttime event.
So annual, once a year.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is...
You're absolutely right.
Purge.
It is annual.
I thought annual meant, like, every night.
No, that's nightly.
You know what? Both of you.
So I enjoyed the show, or the episode. It was a little... It started off solid. Sulu gets captured. It gets bring back up to the ship and starts acting all weird. The captain takes down an actual sizable crew this time.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't just go down by himself. They're not hesitant to fire on people. I like that quite a bit.
Right. Well, I think they're finally over being the hesitant because people keep dying.
Actually, our murder numbers are not that high. We can look at those, but they're not nearly as high as you would think. I really enjoyed it, but then it slowed down once they were captured, and then sped back up a little bit.
And I think it did that for story's sake.
I
felt like it.
Maybe. I feel like we could have gotten more out of the reveal of Landru. So, spoilers, Landru's a computer.
Right.
That's why this what do you call that? This society is soulless, which Spock points that out. They have no emotion, they have no creativity, they're just soulless.
Right.
But we watched parts of the crew get taken over. It's very interesting in the way it handles it and presents it. I liked it well enough. It wasn't a bad episode.
It had
that
flaws.
Slow part. It did have some flaws, like the fact that
storytelling and effects.
So what did you think, Jesse?
I enjoyed it for what it was, but at the start, during the festival, they started throwing bricks around.
Right.
I honestly thought they were throwing loaves of bread because they were bouncing awfully hard.
Yeah, well,
and one takes one to the head, just kind of like acts like nothing happened.
William Shatner takes one to the head and it bounces right off. Yeah.
So I thought maybe they're just throwing bread at him, but then later on, when one slides into the room and it looks like a brick, and they just kind of slide it back out.
Yeah.
And also, towards the end, I understand why they did it for storytelling purposes. But at the start, they capture Sulu with a tube that they make him a part of the body with the tube. But later on, there's a major MacGuffin where they can't use the tube. They have to take him to a chamber. I don't know why they didn't just tube him.
No, I mean, he's got a good point. Like,
well, right.
Yeah, that is very interesting. And then we find out the tube is just an empty, hollow tube. There's no actual anything there.
Right, but somehow it magically gets...
It's never explained. What in the hell is...
It's the same way that Landrew knows where everybody is and what they're thinking. So whatever that kind of conceptual energy was,
suggests that this
what he used to.
It suggests that this technology is far beyond even what the Federation understands at this
time.
Which is odd, because it's a Federation ship that crashed in the first place.
Yeah, but
no.
Oh, they brought it down. Never mind. He wasn't a part of the Federation crew either.
Yeah. The Archon brought down the Federation crew, which makes me wonder if maybe the Federation crew, like children, are in the society and we just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Because they're all the quote unquote aliens on this are freaking humans.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that denotes them as something separate.
Something different.
Like in Next Generation, we get clearly human societies, but this one's different because look at its ears or the ridge on its forehead or something like that.
Right. And what the word you're looking for is humanoid.
I also thought it was humorous with how this is like the first time they ever used Prime Directive, if I researched that correctly.
Right, but it wasn't in regards to it wasn't in regards to the Star Trek universe. It was in regards to just this.
No,
planet.
It was both. Spock's like we can't do this because it's against the Prime Directive.
Yeah,
he throws that out there.
As soon as they get their man, Kirk says we need to leave because it's against the Prime Directive to interfere or show them technology. But they had just used their lasers on what is clearly 18th century. So they done blew past that point like ages ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think the Prime Directive applies until you're defending yourself in situations like that. So the Prime Directive has legal stance.
And I know they ignored a lot, but I found it ironic that they had already ignored it before it was even introduced in the episode it was introduced in.
Yeah. The acting from our main characters, I mean, the crew was fine. We get to meet a couple of crewmen. Uh-huh. Yay. Finally. Sulu was fun as a creepy, stare-off guy.
Yeah, he did do that very well.
Yeah. But he doesn't get a lot of screen time. We get to see a lot of Scotty. Like, not all at once, but like he gets more lines in this than I think he's had in anything else. And it's always complaining about the ship and how it's not doing what it needs to do. But he's the head engineer, so that's kind of cool. He gets to be in charge for a while, so that's cool.
He even sets in the chair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Scotty's important here now.
Whoa.
I love me some Scotty.
Yeah.
Although his hair was doing a weird 60s thing.
It was,
who was the actor who played the guy on the planet who was immune to the body?
So Rager?
Yeah.
That's Harry Towns.
Okay. He was good, especially for an off-main character.
Yeah, he was. He's been in a lot of things. Gunsmoke. He played in several episodes of Gunsmoke. He's been in Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Stagecoach West, Rawhide. 4 episodes of Rawhide, Twilight Zone. Yeah, Shirley and I talked about that, by the way, while we're looking at this. This did feel very much like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
I mean, towards the end, we get to, like, it's a straight-on science fiction telling, but there's a lot of Twilight Zone
ish kind of
and feel to this episode. So I think overall the story is pretty solid. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. They go down, they get caught.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I don't like that Sulu and the other guy are the only 2 crew that got sent down, because that doesn't make any sense. They would send down just 2 people for a scouting
in the beginning, and that's what he when he comes back up, he's like screaming, it's all your fault, and we should have had these instead of this.
Yeah, what was up with that? And he says the costume was wrong. We should have been looking like this, and then their landing party wears the exact same costumes.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that either, but I feel like in that moment, something was said that made me think, well, we should have sent more people down, and then that's why they take more people down the second time, instead of just 1 or 2.
Yeah. So, we get to see this weird 18th century-ish weird society,
which
is also hinted at to be much larger because when Kirk and them show up, they ask if they're of the body and where they're from, and they're like, "Oh, you're from the Valley. The Valley. You must be from the Valley." Like they say the Valley like 10 times.
Yes.
And they're there for the festival from the Valley.
Yeah, I really thought that would play into it because they know
because they're part of the body.
Yeah, but they know the Valley's different. They follow a different set of rules, so I thought that would come into play at some point.
Yeah, there's a lot of introduction on things in Star Trek, the original series, that we never get to see play out a lot.
I would have liked to see in the Valley.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it leaves it open enough that we could have come back to it, and in some instances we do. I mean, they leave Khan open, and we get a freaking good movie out of it. Yeah. So, that's coming eventually. I don't know when. But this one... It's
the next episode.
No, I'm saying the movie.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, I know Space Seed has Khan. That we're doing Space Seed with George. Yeah, Space Seed.
Woohoo!
So yeah, this was interesting. I liked it quite a bit. It was very clear on what it was trying to do. I don't think there's anything glaring. I mean, Jesse, you pointed out some flaws in it. There's some other things where suddenly Landru knows where everyone's at, even though the guy's knocked back out. I don't buy that because they explain it. They explain it very clearly. Like if this guy wakes up, Landru will know. The guy doesn't wake up, but then suddenly Landru knows. They defeated their own logic there.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it was pretty good. Wanted to touch on some of our guest stars here. We got Lindstrom, Mr. Leslie, Lieutenant O'Neill. I thought there was one more. They got sent. No, it was the three of them that went down with Spock, McCoy, and Kirk. We get to see Spock, McCoy, and Kirk, I think, on their first away mission together. All three of them at the same time.
Oh, right.
Oh, no. They went down to the arena.
The arena.
So, but they get to do a lot of interacting. This is almost, other than a few shots to the ship, this is almost all on the planet. In what is, by the way, clearly a backlot at Paramount at the time. But it looked okay though. I mean, they fit it to their story, so that worked well. So we did get Tula was played by Brioni Farrell. We had several guest stars here. They were all pretty all right. I mean, there wasn't anything weird, off-putting with their acting. No. Other than when they were being crazy, it was a little awkwardly crazy.
Yeah, but I think that over-the-top acting for that part of it was supposed to be because they're so zombified any other time.
Yeah, I can see that. The races, the only thing that stuck out as a strange race was Landru as a computer at the end, where we defeat him by using logic against him, by Kirk using logic against him.
Which is illogical.
Yeah, Spock. I would have felt a little better about that if Spock had out logic the logic computer, but we got that. Was there anything else that stuck out for you guys really at all?
I had flashbacks to Fallout 3 and tricking President Eden into shutting himself down, and I think they pulled heavily from this episode for that scene.
Yeah, there's some Fallout 3 homages. Fallout 3 did some homages to this, and probably other sci-fi, because you can always trick a computer, because it's obviously humans are smarter than computers.
Yeah.
This is very interesting. I didn't have a problem with the story overall. Let's get into our reoccurring items, though, because we're kind of speeding through this, but really, there's not a lot.
Yeah, there's not really a lot.
It's not a deep episode. I'll come back to that, because I have some thoughts. Looking at our reoccurring items, Bones is out for part of the episode, so he doesn't really say much of anything. Kirk starts to almost get the lady, and then she goes to the festival, and he loses the lady.
Yep.
Spock is logical throughout, as always. Mm-hmm. And at the very end, Kirk suggests that Spock is almost a computer, and he appreciates it.
He's very proud about it.
Yeah.
We get no deaths, 0 deaths in this episode.
I thought one of the guys died.
Nope, none of them die.
Oh.
And Uhura does, like, essentially is the other part of the bridge crew. She doesn't just just answer the phone, but she's really working with Scotty to run the ship.
Yeah.
That reminded me of something.
Mm-hmm.
No one died, but they left someone behind.
They did. They leave Lindstrom behind with a team to help the society reintegrate.
Was there a whole team?
Oh.
Said it?
Yes.
Yeah, they say that they leave him behind with a psychology degree or team, or...
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of odd.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
they were trying to rebuild the society and what would be...
Well, and it suggested that Landru's been in control for 6,000 years, which means there is no society, and they need to understand how to deal with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that didn't bother me. It made complete sense.
Oh, I understood it. It just seemed that it was different. Unique for a Star Trek kind of a movie. I don't remember him leaving anybody behind anywhere else.
Well...
Except...
No. He left with Belloc. He leaves one of his crew members back with creepy baby child. Man.
Who do they leave with him?
I don't remember. What episode was that? That was Carbomite Maneuver.
Yeah, the Carbomite Maneuver.
So, they did leave somebody behind with the Carbomite Maneuver during the Carbonite. Oh, of course, I spelled it wrong. In the Carbomite Maneuver, which is I think like episode 4 or 5. It's not very far into the episode.
No.
They do end up leaving behind
Bailey.
Yeah. Lieutenant Bailey stays on the ship with Baylock, with the creepy baby man child. It stays behind and gets to know him, and that's interesting. This is episode 2. So actually, episode 3. This is after
it's the space exchange program.
Yeah. That was another instance of them leaving people behind. Nothing terribly new. I forgot what my point was going to be earlier. I think I was going to come back to. I think that this is a run-of-the-mill episode. If you're watching, I remember. If I was watching this month to month, or week to week, this would not be an episode I would be upset about.
Right.
Because it feels pretty standard. But this is not a great episode. I think we ran into that with Tomorrow's Yesterday as well. It wasn't great. It was interesting, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
But if this is the baseline, I'm okay with that, because I'm at least getting okay episodes. It's not like ridiculously stupid stuff.
And speaking of watching it week to week, you wouldn't realize how important the Prime Directive is going to be later, and that's really the only claim to fame this episode has.
Yeah, this is true. So, Jesse, out of 5, what do you give this one? Give us some suggestions or your thoughts on it as a wrap up.
I would give it around 3.5. It's a solid episode. It has history, and it's needed to be watched if you want like the full experience. There's a few episodes I know you can skip. I don't think this would be one of them, merely because it is the first instance of the Prime Directive being used, and it shows that in the past the Prime Directive was different.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, Shirley, what about you?
I think I would give it like a 3.
A 3?
Yeah, a 3. A good solid 3.
Any other thoughts?
No, I just it wasn't that interesting of a story for me.
Okay.
But the way the story played out, I definitely wanted to see how it ended, so that kind of drew me in.
Yeah, definitely. I give this one a solid 3 as well. It's not great. It's not bad. The bricks, I don't have a problem with them being foam, because you wouldn't want to throw real bricks at people.
Yeah.
Right, but they could have, not bounced.
Yeah, they could have given them some weight, but then there's some danger. I'm willing to do that. At least it wasn't exploding rocks from spears being thrown.
Cotton balls.
You got to go back and watch the Galileo 7 episode. Jesse, you've missed a lot.
Yeah.
You should be listening to our podcast, Jesse. I think that's going to do us tonight. But before we go, you guys should be checking us out over on Clamor. I know I've said that a couple times on here, but we're giving short little clips over there. You can follow that and kind of get an idea of what else coming up from us.
Twitter.
that's all in the exit. So don't forget we have other podcasts as well. There's some great stuff with Jesse on it, and Shirley and I are on those, and we're pretty great, I think. Yeah, we're all right. If you like Star Trek, you'll like our upcoming B-side episode, our Classics and B-side episode about 2001: A Space Odyssey and Sharknado. Mostly 2001: A Space Odyssey is what wraps in here, because there's a lot of good sci-fi there, and then there's some weird psychedelic stuff. Whatever. Oh. There's also a chocolate bar of death. So the
chocolate bar of death.
Chocolate bar of death. Anyway, from here, us over here, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you guys real soon.
And that'll do us tonight for
There Are Four Lights.
Remember, you can email us at therearefourlightspodcast@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdsdomain, on Twitter at nerdsdomain, or over at our site, nerdsdom.com. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter while you're there. You can head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. A big thanks to 5 Year Mission for their music. You can find them at 5yearmission.net. Don't forget you can support us at patreon.com/nerdsdomain. And check out our shirts at /loot.